Triptykon with Melana Chasmata. Sorry if I butchered the name in advance. Anyway. Alright, so Triptykon has finally returned after 4 years of dormancy. I know they've released an EP or so in between, but this is the second studio album that they've released after their 2010 effort. Sorry if I butchered this name in advance once again. Iperistera Demonis. And, of course, we all know Tom G. Warrior. I've talked about him a little bit in my track review. He's been involved in, like I said in the track review I made, a lot of different projects, including Celtic Frost. You could see the monotheist poster right there, so it's a bit out of the way, but I just wanted to show you that. And Hellhammer, Triptykon, obviously. I think Apollyon Sun was another one. And yeah, lots of different stuff. We're here to talk about Triptykon, of course. So first off, the production is, you know, a little bit more polished than it was on the last album. I mean, it was still really good on the last album too, but I think it's even more so on here. The drums definitely sound a lot more crisp. Just everything just sounds more crisp in general. I really enjoy the mixing quite a bit. Everything feels exactly where it needs to be. Nothing is pushed up too high or anything like that. Nothing sounds overly compressed. It's definitely not death magneticized or anything like that. Triptykon beats Metallica anyway, so whatever. I think it sounds really good overall. I really like the overall sound quality of this release. So starting off with the opener, A Tree of Suffocating Souls is definitely quite upbeat and catchy by Triptykon standards. It's quite the antithesis to Goetia, I must say. And sorry if I butchered that name as well. You know what? I'm just going to say it right now. I apologize in advance if I butcher any of the names here. Just if I butcher a name, I apologize in advance. So, okay, let's move on. The length of this song is actually quite a bit shorter than the other song, and well, so is the rest of the album, really. Compare the 65 minutes of this album compared to the nearly 71 to 72 minutes of the previous album, and you can see it's a bit more concise overall. I mean, it's not like going down to 40 or 30 minutes or anything like that, but, you know, it's just a little bit more concise, but, I mean, it definitely doesn't lose the edge or anything like that. It's just a little bit shorter, that's all. After all, this record's still very crushing and doom-laden, and stylistically speaking, it's not all that much different from the previous album. But at the same time, it's also quite laid back, like just relatively speaking to the what came out before. I think it kind of reminds me of like listening to like a stoner psychedelic record of some sort. I think if you got some good weed on you, I think this is definitely one to toke up to. I think you'll really enjoy it that way. Boneskin House definitely starts this trend off with, you know, it's a bit of a slower song, but it's definitely very moody. It's definitely quite low-key, so to speak. And then when you get to the next song, Altar of Deceit, damn, it really capitalizes on that, like, very psychedelic, hypnotizing sound that you hear on this album. I think this song actually reminds me quite a bit of Asa Bismi Veldoth off of the Monotheist record, and for that, it definitely is a true highlight in my opinion. These are some of the best riffs I've heard this band write. Right when you get into the middle of the song, like around the 4-minute mark, you're just in a trance. It has a very steady drum beat. There's some weird effects going on that are definitely just very mind-boggling, and they definitely really sink under your skin in like a good way. You're just infatuated with this music. You can really just do nothing but just lie down or stand still like until that part ends, because it's definitely very, very mesmerizing. I also love Aurora. I think it has some great like clean guitar melodies, and I think it may be the softest song that they've written, although My Pain and Waiting, which is also on this album, are technically a lot softer, but I mean, this is just, you know, one of the softest things that they've written. I dig the steady drum beat, and Tom has some really like menacing, clean vocals in here, which I think sounds really cool. It's kind of like Triptykon's version of a power ballad, so to speak. Heresy, I know, but it's better than what I'm describing it. Don't go into this thinking it's going to be in every rose has its thorn or everything or anything like that. It's definitely really cool, really legit. This is just a great song. For music this complex and dense, time certainly flies by like really fast whenever you're listening to it for the first time, and I think uh, with even multiple listens, I think it'll go by even quickly than that, because this is certainly a very rewarding album for anyone to just sit down and enjoy listening to the whole way through. This is definitely not one of those albums in which you like just want to pick and choose your favorite songs to listen to on your iPod. You can if you want, but I say the whole is definitely greater than the sum of its parts in regards to this album here. It's definitely one where you really just want to absorb the whole entire experience. I mean, as with any album, of course, but I think it's this kind of album where you definitely just want to. This is like an album lover's album. Like if you have like vinyl or something like that, this is definitely a really good album for you to pick up on vinyl just to absorb the whole experience overall. Um, Even though there are some really big standouts like the songs I just mentioned before, along with some others that I haven't mentioned, this is definitely something that you definitely want to check out, because this is really good. Overall, I give this about an 8.5 out of 10. It's not too much different from the previous album, but it's a logical continuation of the sound that you've heard from the 2010 release, with a few new tricks thrown into the fold, which is really cool. So, I mean, it's not like you're listening to the same album. If that were the case, then that would be boring. This is just a really great album that has a similar sound to the previous one, but yeah, no, it definitely just sounds really good on its own. It just continues from where Iperistera Demones left off, and that's really nice. I don't really have all that much to say about this album. I'm really glad I checked it out. I have my CD coming in pretty soon, so when I get that CD in, I'm going to be listening to this more and more. And I highly recommend everyone pick up this album in whatever format, MP3, CD, vinyl, whatever. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about this album. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you.